Albert Spaggiari was a man who owned his own photography studio. He was tired and fed up with his middle-class life. There was a Society General bank near his studio. One day he went to the bank for some money-related needs. While waiting in the hallway, a sound reached his ears. The sound of running water. This sound made Spaggiari think deeply. After leaving the bank, he got a layout of the city of Nice. Using that map, he found the pathway of the water stream flowing below the Society General Bank. He realized that the stream was passing just beneath the bank's locker room. Soon, some dangerous thoughts began to enter his mind. Spaggiari made a decision to rob the Society General Bank. From that day onward, day and night, he obsessed over how to steal the money from the bank. He began to plan carefully. One day, Spaggiari returned to the bank and requested a safety deposit box to store his belongings. But his real motive was far different. He entered the locker room with the bank staff, carefully analyzing the locking systems. Once the staff left him alone, he took a loud alarm clock from his suitcase and placed it inside the locker, and set to go off that night. That night, he waited outside the bank, listening for the alarm. After half an hour, the alarm went off. No one came to check the noise. No security systems were in place. The bank relied solely on its advanced locking system and the strong, thick walls of the vault. Spaggiari's plan began to take shape. He knew, however, that robbing the bank alone was impossible. He needed a team. Marseille was a city known for gangsters and criminals at that time. So Spaggiari went to Marseille and sought help from some old friends to find the right people for the job. He eventually connected with a notorious criminal gang and chose 3 men. Spaggiari, 2 of his friends and 3 workers, a total team of 6, were ready to execute the heist. The next day, Spaggiari and his team began digging near the water stream close to the bank. They powered their drills by tapping into the electricity from a nearby streetlight. Spaggiari had some strict rules to follow. Work was to be done 24 hours a day. They had to work in shifts. Alcohol and coffee were prohibited during work, and each person had to sleep at least 10 hours after their shift. It took them 2 months to dig a tunnel from the river stream to the bank's locker room, a length of almost 8 meters. It was during the Bastille Day festival in France, a time when the banks would be closed for an entire week. Spaggiari and his team made their move. They entered the bank through the underground tunnel they had created, breaking into the vault. They welded the lockers open from the inside. For 4 days, they stayed in the vault, even preparing and eating dinner inside the locker room, as if they weren't in the middle of robbing a bank. The Society General Bank had 4,000 safety deposit boxes, and 400 of them were their target. They filled sacks with money, ornaments, and important documents, stealing almost $100 million worth of valuables. Without them knowing, they had just pulled off the world's largest bank robbery. Before leaving, Albert Spaggiari wrote a message on the wall of the locker room.
Si un jour je me casse en champagne, tu seras jalouse et t'auras bien raison.
The day before the bank reopened, Spaggiari and his team disappeared. The next day, when the bank staff discovered the crime, the police immediately started searching for evidence. All they found were a few gas cylinders left behind in the tunnel. For months, there was no further evidence. But eventually, the police got a lead. A woman, the ex-girlfriend of one of the gang members, provided crucial information that led to the arrest of one of the men. His interrogation revealed the rest of the team, and the police soon tracked down Spaggiari. Spaggiari was arrested at an airport, but even after intense questioning, he refused to admit to the crime. He was eventually brought before the magistrate. In the French system at the time, this meant 3 people and the accused in a small room. Spaggiari handed the judge a document which was difficult to read. As the judge struggled to understand it, he asked the 2 others in the room to help him. They all tried to make sense of the document, but couldn't. Finally, they asked for Spaggiari's assistance, but Spaggiari wasn't in the room. The window was open, and when they looked down, they saw Spaggiari had jumped out, landing on top of a car. He then ran to a waiting motorcycle and escaped. It was only then that they realized even the confusing document was part of Spaggiari's master plan. Despite years of searching, the police never found him. Albert Spaggiari had pulled off the perfect crime and disappeared without a trace.